Hey, listeners, and welcome to the You Are Epic podcast. This is where we honor the people who've helped build not just our industry, but our communities. I'm Angela Hucker, and I am so glad that you're here. So, I'm taking the time to sit down with people who've been in construction for years, people who've been through the ups, the downs, and everything in between. You're going to hear real stories of resilience, growth, and moments that shaped who they are. This podcast is for those that want to learn more from people who've been walking this path for some time, and they're helping to lift up others and quietly making a difference along the way. It's also to show you that your journey matters and your voice matters. And in case you've forgotten, you are epic. Let's get into it. Today's guest is Mario McDonagh, a bold and passionate voice in the fight for safer, healthier workplaces and communities, and the founder of Star Group. Mario brings more than 40 years of lived and professional experience across diverse industries and social landscapes. And what he's doing now could not be more important. Through his work, he's tackling some of the biggest unspoken risks affecting our people and our businesses: psychosocial hazards, addiction, mental health, and suicide, or as he calls it, the DAGs. With a background in compliance, adult education, and behavioural risk, Mario doesn't just raise awareness. He delivers sustainable, human-centred strategies that drive real change, from reducing lost time injuries by 50% to helping leaders embed cultural safety into their systems. His work is as practical as it is powerful. But what truly stands out is Mario's heart. He's doing this work not just as a professional, but as a parent, a mentor, and a change maker who believes that every single person deserves to go home safe, sound, and supported. His mission is to halve the suicide rate by 2028 and build stronger teams, families, and futures in the process. Well, I am super excited to have my next guest, which is Mario, to have a conversation today. So thank you for coming, Mario. It's awesome to have you here and have a chat. So, what we might do is just start out with finding a little bit about you. What was your role that you've had in the industry? How long you've been in the industry? And how did you get into the industry, most importantly?
Mm. Well, thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Angela. I grew up on building sites. Let's start at the beginning. I was
Wow.
surrounded by it with all my life. From watching my dad build things and different sites. I moved through different sectors. I've had quite a diverse career, but I ended up going, right, I want to get into building. I might want to build my own house one day. I better learn how to do this. The next panel beater, that's where I really cut my teeth learning quality, do it once and do it well. Things you don't hear anymore. Pride
Mm,
of workmanship. It's almost a dying art, which is sad to see.
mm.
But I got into construction. I was really fortunate. I worked for a really high-end family. They did high-end extensions, I should say. And so that was good. The father was the designer, the architect. The son ran the operations. And I helped them out to get a job. They were desperate for some paving. I went in there and showed him I was capable. And he goes, "You've got a job next year, mate." And I did everything from foundations to the roof. We did everything in between. My name's Mario, so they gave me all the little concrete jobs too for some reason. I said, "I haven't poured any concrete." And they said, "You'll be all right, it's in your blood." And it must have been. So
Yeah,
that was a bit of
yeah.
fun. Did that for quite a few years. I suppose, the technical terms, a trade assistant or technician, if you like. But
Mm.
I was across everything. And I thought, I could be doing this or civil constructions where I could see I'm in Adelaide, folks, South Australia, and Adelaide's miles behind the rest of the country, without a doubt.
Well,
When it
it's
comes
not.
to civil construction, our roads are miles behind. We don't have big freeways and subdivisions were moving out and out. So I thought, I'm going to get into civil construction. I went and wandered through a bundle of labour hire joints, and the fourth one in a row turned around and said, "Here's a phone number, call these people. You should be a supervisor if that suits." And I said, "That sounds about my bag." So I stood up and everyone's looking at this bloke. "Who's he? How did he get that number?" I said, "I'll see you on site, fellas." And there I became a supervisor. It was great. They put
Wow.
me through my Cert 3 for civil construction. In fact, my couple of Cert 3s. And back then I'm talking 20 odd years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, you had to have your team certified, so they were putting all their supervisors and teams through. The beautiful thing was the industry peak body, Civil Train, under the CCF, poached me. Well, I got asked to come in for an interview, and they poached me to be a trainer assessor. So I
Yeah,
was
right.
tickled pink. And I think I found my calling without a doubt. I love being in the classroom. I love educating people and helping them. Then they can achieve more things. It's super fun.
Mm,
So, yeah, about a 10-year career as a trainer assessor. And then someone asked me to set up a drug and alcohol testing agency. And I thought, well, we need that because
yeah.
I see it everywhere. I've seen it in every sector I've worked in. I've seen it in the trade school while I'm a trainer assessor and going, oh my God,
Mm,
they're coming to trade school bombed out of their brain. And I've seen plenty through my whole career. So I thought, yeah, this is a good idea. Started screening on site 8 years ago now, and it morphed into a company called Star Group, which stands for Support Testing Awareness and Help. And
mm,
each division does something. So the testing's obviously screening on site, but the awareness arm where I'm passionate is I've written education around drug and alcohol awareness, implementing reasonable suspicion and for cause testing for supervisor managerial roles. I'm building those out a bit further. And a real big passion is support over suicide, a
mm,
prevention program I've written, which says what it says. You know, we identify issues with people. We train people to help them identify the problems. First, understand and define suicide so
mm,
you can identify in others and then guide them to support. And
mm,
also empowers those in need to seek assistance as well and realize that there is compassionate support out there.
mm,
It's devastating what's happening in our sector, especially. And what really breaks my heart is our youth.
mm.
15 to 24-year-olds
Yeah,
account for over 33% of all deaths are suicide. And that
33%.
tells me what is going on in our society that our youth have no resilience, no support,
Mm,
and are overcome by the weight of life's issues, social medias, the bullying, harassment in schools, and whatever it might be, job pressures
mm.
taking their lives. So a lot needs to be done.
And so, what sort of common themes are you seeing in that space with potentially of what's leading people down that path?
This is what I call the DAGs: drugs,
Yeah.
alcohol, gambling, and suicide.
Yeah,
They
okay.
are the biggest risk factors to our society, to our industries,
Mm,
and that is also combined with the psychosocial hazards that are now manslaughter in workplaces. So
yeah,
when that law came about, I'm like, there's the chain, the link, the missing link that ties
yeah,
all of my work together. And now I can really resonate a clear message to people. Because if you're not addressing psychosocial hazards, your business, you're going to end up in jail
yeah.
or everyone on stress leave. And you only have to go to a doctor and go, oh, I'm a bit stressed, 15
Mm.
weeks off work minimum. The average psychosocial work cover claim is around 50 to 55 grand now.
Wow, that's
Yes,
incredible.
this has got everyone on notice that you need to have a comprehensive and robust system from sign up to work duties to management down, bottom up,
Mm,
to have a system. Then once you've got that system and the accountability, now I can make the worker accountable for their duty of care. Because
mm,
if they don't actually report that they're stressed or the bullying's happening or something like that, well, that's dereliction in duty. So what,
mm.
you can't go to a doctor and get a claim when you actually haven't followed through in your obligations in a workplace to prevent these things happening. The company's done everything. You have
Yeah.
to do your fair share as well.
So with the system, what sort of things would need to be accounted for in a system?
Well, starts at induction,
Yeah.
clear job descriptors so people know their obligations, their rights, roles, responsibilities, and ramifications
Mm,
is where I like to start. Any company that doesn't have a comprehensive drug and alcohol management plan in place is just losing money hand over fist. So they're the two key elements. Get your psychosocial stuff right. We put in systems, we survey workplaces. You have to survey. Engagement is key.
Mm,
But there's also management. They are the biggest drivers. They account for around 75% of engagement in your workplace.
mm,
I think it's 85 actually. If a team gets on with the managers, they're 85% more engaged.
yeah.
Such a fundamental at the moment that workplaces are overlooking. So, I know 75% of adult substance users are employed.
So is that where you see a bit of a disconnect where, if employees are engaged, they're good, but if they're disengaged, it's
Ooh.
potentially leading them down a route that's not so good for them?
There's engagement and disengagement. And if they're disengaged, this is a huge problem because is it work related or is it their social and personal life settings that are causing this?
Mm,
And quite frankly, if you don't have the systems that we put together for organizations, you don't know, therefore you cannot control it.
yeah.
If you have systems in place with a testing regime and support, employee assistance programs are so valuable. It costs far less to support someone and keep them a contributing member of the community
Mm,
and including the workplace than
mm,
it does to say, see you later, hire and fire and retrain and get someone up to peak performance and all the issues that go with that. And I believe on average it costs around 25 grand for one staff turnover to get all those
yeah.
systems and get them performing again. So that's a
Yeah.
huge cost in itself.
And I'd heard something from a recruiter last year at a conference that I was speaking at, and he was the speaker after me, where it's taking 4 months from when someone leaves to when a new person starts, and it's
Yep.
costing double whatever their salary was because
Mm,
of lost time, lost productivity,
yep.
plus there's the recruitment costs, then the time to train someone up again. It's about double the salary for all that turnover time
Mm,
when you lose someone as well. So,
100%.
yeah,
Let's have some good news for a moment. If your
go
engagement is good, you've got highly engaged employees, you have 59% less turnover of staff.
59%.
Less turnover.
Wow.
That is phenomenal.
Yes.
Let's give it some other good news because all goes, oh, I'm just promoting myself and my business. Far from it. I'm
No.
only one organization in this field, and I can tell listeners that if you don't actually start addressing these things, you are losing big time. Let
Mm,
alone your freedom is on the line every day to go to jail for 20 years or 25, depending what state you're in, for
mm,
industrial manslaughter.
mm,
Like, why? Who wants to go to work and be accountable for everyone else's actions because we don't
mm.
have systems in place to validate their accountability?
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm all about. And the good news is when they do have systems, protocols in place, we see productivity go up by 14%, customer ratings go up by 10%, you have increased sales of 18%, profitability goes up by 23%. Like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, that is
Yeah.
there's your return on investment. People go, oh, I don't want to spend the money on testing and or doing this or doing that. And your organizational participation improves by 13% by looking at employee engagement and productivity.
Yeah.
Right?
What's some solutions that you think of that would, like you touched on about having your systems in place and,
Mm,
like your drug and alcohol testing, but
yep,
what's some, if there's any low-hanging fruit that companies have got that they could implement and, because they're all concerned about costs and budgets and
yep,
this and, everything else,
yep.
what's some low-hanging fruit that they could implement that could help start them on that journey?
Well, I'll tell you, for starters, I just read on the weekend the latest ROI on any mental health initiative or well-being initiative, $5.80 I saw on the
Mm,
internet. That's the highest I've ever seen. I've seen $4 and 4.25 and 4.80. A new report saying $5.80 for every dollar you spend, you get 5.80 back.
mm,
Well, the 23% return on profitability, there's 20% increase in your business immediately.
mm.
That's phenomenal. I don't,
Yep.
turning over 1 million, thank you very much. The
Yeah.
systems might only cost a 10% of your total disengagement level.
Yeah.
It's like the Pareto rule, 80-20 is how I look at it.
Yeah.
I know the World Economic forum is saying 10% of your salary, your annual salary, is lost to absenteeism and depression.
Mm.
10% of your annual salary. Put the 80-20% rule on that. 20,
Mm.
if you invested 20% of that money into your people,
Mm.
you would have those benefits I talked about. So it's really cost effective. And the low hanging fruits, education, without a doubt. Drug and alcohol awareness, the policy, the training for supervisors, and a system in place. That's the first one because it automatically reduces negative behavioral patterns.
Yeah.
It starts getting people to start looking after themselves. I've had people go, oh, because of you, I've had to stop drinking every night. Sorry for helping you save your life.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And they were just destroying themselves. And that organization, one of my favorite clients, 150 staff. Now, the senior manager came up to me and said, Mario, you're part of our furniture. We love you. You are part of our business
Yeah.
because I'm part of their risk management profile.
Yeah.
And they said, we've reduced lost time injuries by 50% since you started.
Wow. And that's from drug and alcohol testing.
Just from the drug and alcohol testing and some education. That
Wow.
is phenomenal in itself. Not
And
only does my system provide that huge saving for the organization,
yeah.
it automatically takes off industrial manslaughter. It's off the table. They've got a policy. My policy is 12 pages. It has to be to counter-react all the loopholes people will try
Yeah.
and all the indiscretions that will happen. I mean, I've
Yeah.
got multiple years of experience here. You sneeze, you can't get out of it with me. We've got everything covered, but justifiably, I might add too. It's got to be fair and justifiable.
Yes.
And we're
Yeah.
not there to catch people. I want to see people keep their jobs and keep working. That's the important thing. So that's a really good aspect of what's happening out there. That automatically increases their engagement and also their productivity. They're now investing in smarter new ways to do the business because they're not putting out bushfires and the HR headaches
Mm.
like a kindergarten school dealing with people's issues.
Yeah.
They've got data, they've got benchmarks. They've just seen an incredible turnaround. Funny thing is, it took me 2 years to get that client.
Yeah. It's
No,
always the way,
it's
isn't it?
somehow I met them. I remember how, and they said, "Oh no, we're not ready. Oh no, I don't think we can do it." And their biggest fear was they're going to lose 50% of their workforce. So they
Wow.
know their staff are on drugs and alcohol at work, but they didn't know how to address the problem. I said, "Fear not. Let me take you through the stages and
Yes.
we'll implement it. We'll stage it policy first, disseminate the information, make everyone sign on to it. They've been formally educated just with the policy.
Mm.
We did the education ongoing, but we gave them a week or two to clean their act up. It's not like here's the policy, come in the next day, test everyone, and then oh, we've got to
Yeah.
fire people. And in fact, what really happened was they got rid of 3 ringleaders in that organization,
Yeah. Okay.
and everyone else towed the line. It was
So
amazing.
you made sure there was a bit of a process that it wasn't just coming from an authoritative perspective and it
100%.
wasn't just doing part of it. Like a lot of places just have their policies, but there's not the enforcement that goes with it or
Yep.
the accountability that goes with it.
100%.
You've done a stage process that's mapped it out,
Yep.
and given people the opportunities where it's, not only just putting a policy in place, but then the accountability and enforcement with,
Yeah.
doing regular testing and doing some education and,
Yep.
helping to get that awesome result that you've been able to achieve as well.
It's astounding. And I've really loved this company. They stand by their EAPs. They really provided support for their people. They embraced that aspect of it. If we had strike one, you're out, like zero tolerance. And yeah, it's zero tolerance at work, but you're allowed to have a strike one, two, or three policy. Yeah,
Mm,
it's zero. We're not going to have drugs and alcohol on the floor
mm,
on any day. But you know what? We're going to give you an opportunity to show you can show contrition, help you if there's any major issues needed,
mm,
and also allow you the opportunity to prove that you value your duty of care obligation
mm.
and respect the job.
So do you want to talk to us a bit more about that duty of care aspect as well?
Well, yeah, this is the bit I love, duty of care.
Yeah.
The Work Health and Safety Act, I've been reiterating it for years as a trainer assessor. If you are the owner, director, board member, a C-suite engaged employee, CEO, CFO, whatever they are, you are the person conducting the business or undertaking a PCBU. You are liable under the Work Health and Safety Act, which
Mm,
also includes your officers. Now, officers under the Act are those that make decisions that have financial impact within the business.
mm,
So the decision whether to test or not to test, it is not a decision, it is not a question, it is a requirement. If you want to show the organisation has provided a safe work environment,
mm,
provided safe systems of work, and also has provided the information, instruction, training, and supervision to monitor and maintain those systems. So if you've got a policy and it's half a page or maybe a couple of paragraphs, it does not cut it in
no.
this drug-infested climate that is Australia.
Mm,
And there's no other way to say it. We're trying to become the ghetto of America with the ice epidemic.
mm.
$80 billion are wasted on drugs annually. 8 billion of it is on ice. The methamphetamine is ice. Now that's horrifying in itself. And we know
Jeez.
75% of adult users are at work every day. And in fact, in South,
75%.
75% of adult users are at work. My calculations, 10 to 20% of the workforce are under the influence every day. Now, it might be alcohol, it might be a hangover, it might be drugs of whichever description, and it could be medication as well.
Mm,
And medication is just as important we cover all these aspects because we've got prescription abuse that leads to overdose and suicide,
yeah.
and it's illicit substance abuse because it's done behind closed doors. So anything illegal or illicit, anything that shouldn't be done according to the manufacturer's specifications, and there aren't any for the illegal drugs, therefore they're illicit. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, So yeah, that covers a lot. The duty of care is massive. Failing on any of the grounds of what's reasonably practicable, all those things I mentioned earlier, leaves you liable for a category one offence because you haven't managed the risk. And knowing how many people are on drugs, you cannot say, I know my people. I wouldn't want
Mm,
to stand up in court going, I know my people, but I've heard people do that with 3,000 staff. We know our team. Oh, what a joke.
yeah.
How do you know the life issues and pressures people are under that lead them to maybe taking drugs or alcohol? And I'm talking people, I've found 56-year-olds on ice at work because they've got I don't know what to do, I'll take this and block out all the receptors, like just walking time bombs.
Gosh.
Here's
And
the worst alarming aspect, and I've probably transgressed a bit, but this is really important. I'm really I'm anti-ice, anti the methamphetamine. We all need to be. And that's what my awareness is about. After 5 uses, you have the same symptoms as onset Parkinson's disease.
oh my
Now,
gosh.
who in their right mind would want that?
Yeah.
Your life expectancy is down. Your capability to use your brain, your cognitive and critical thinking, gone. And the critical thinking is the brain's process of analyzing steps and processes and making a decision. Well,
Mm,
isn't every risk assessment about that?
mm,
How can you follow instruction if you have no cognitive and critical thinking?
mm.
And I just see it everywhere I walk in the streets and work. They walk in the room, I know
Yeah.
if they're under the influence or not. I've been testing for 8 years. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's heartbreaking to watch.
It
And it's
is.
destroying our nation, and the government's only got band-aid repairs.
Yeah.
Whereas companies need to jump in, address this wholeheartedly, and put robust systems in place, provide the support. If they can't show contrition and meet their duty of care obligations after 2 or 3 strikes, sorry, you can't work here,
Mm,
giving you every opportunity.
yeah.
And there's a harsh reality here, unfortunately. People are going to choose one thing over the other. But at the end of the day, at the moment, organizations allowing the drug and alcohol culture to run their business.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. Policy and procedure runs business with systems and protocols and forward planning. So if you don't actually have a plan on how to address these gigantic issues destroying our country, you're a sitting time bomb that, one, can end up in jail, or two, lose everything with the business. The PCBU fines a category one, $600,000, 5 years jail or both.
Oh, wow.
All right, that's for the PCBU. This is what I love about duty of care. The worker is responsible for their actions. And it's now 300 grand, 5 years jail or both for them. So if you come to work under the influence, you have deliberately breached all WHS protocols. Therefore, it's a category one offence.
Wow.
Simple as that.
And so,
And we're driving to work, passing all these people or having them
yeah,
pass us on
yeah.
the way to work every day. Think
Well,
about that.
you're putting the public at risk as well because
They are indeed, 100%.
you're operating a vehicle or a motorbike or whatever you're on.
And
So
if they're in a company car,
yeah,
wow.
with the ice epidemic and all that stuff, and then the link back to the Workplace Health and Safety Act and the duty of care, what sort of common themes are you sort of seeing in the construction industry specifically about how they all kind of are
Oh, this
interlinked to
one.
be together? Yeah,
I don't
okay.
want to know about it. No one
Yeah.
wants to know. We've got certain organisations banging on to stop any kind of testing happening at all. And in fact, they make it part of an EBA, and they've got government supporting them to stop drug and alcohol testing on an EBA. Here's a news flash for every listener. Drug and alcohol testing is an arm of your Work Health and Safety Act. And in fact, I'm pretty certain any organisation that tries to breach a policy shouldn't actually be allowed to be an organisation. They've undermined the actual statute of limitations on what it is to run an organisation. They cannot change the law. So I wonder if these organisations that protect work bodies are happy to put their hand up and say, well, we're responsible for any death on site because we actually prevented the drug and alcohol testing in our EBA. It
Can't see
has
that
nothing
happening.
to do with an EBA.
Mm.
They don't have a leg to stand on, except no one actually wants to take up the charge and go, well, no, sorry, this is our protocols, this is what we do, except the excellent clients that I work with and very proud to support.
So how is that going to play into industrial manslaughter then? Because there's
That's,
when they go through
this
the
is the
industrial
question. Well, the company's
manslaughter.
liable. They didn't test. But are they going to go, well, I wasn't allowed to because the worker body group said I can't do any testing? Well, what's Safe Work SA or Vic Safe, whatever one it is, they're just going to go, well, that's not an answer. It's not an excuse. Well, they shut me down, or they just boost prices up. I mean, our country's getting destroyed. I'm listening to what certain costs and expenditures happen between the different sectors and the tier ones and the mid tiers and so on. Only tier one's meant to do 10% of the workforce per month. What about tier two and three? Like, the drug problem doesn't just sit here at tier one.
No.
So every single company in Australia that doesn't have a testing regime is looking down the barrel of 20 to 25 years jail for the first death that occurs, and it's drug or alcohol related, or suicide for that matter. And that's already happened. I can tell you, we've had deaths, multiple deaths. They say when there's accidents involved in the drug and alcohol, 85% of the injuries are for the people unaffected.
Yeah.
Now that's heartbreaking in itself. We're
Yes.
allowing those doing the right thing to get injured because we're failing in administering a robust system.
Well, and we're not protecting everyone, are we?
Simple as that. And there's your liability 101.
Yeah.
You've allowed an unsafe workplace and work practice.
So this is a big challenge that you're seeing in
Oh,
the industry at
massive.
the moment.
Massive challenge for me. I've had clients that it's a new CEO comes in. Oh, well, we're not doing that. We don't need to do that. He's just put himself and left the rest of his team liable because I made an executive decision to save money. And even when they have a WHS consultant or so-called specialist and they go, oh, no, you're 100% correct, Mario. I'm going, well, why are we not testing anymore? Oh, well, we'll call you when there's a problem. I don't understand what you're going to wait for someone to be on drugs.
Yeah.
That is reactionary, which means you haven't done anything, liable for the 25 years jail and the category one offence immediately, in my opinion. And that's a professional opinion. There's no ifs or buts about it. That's not, you can't have reactionary measures to say, oh, we maintained our policy. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Maintaining means doing the steps throughout the year, not waiting for an action and then trying to put a band-aid on it like the government is.
So being
$26 million
consistent.
they're spending on ice beds and rehabilitation for the methamphetamine problem here in South Australia. In 2018, the Ice Age report told us 7% of the Australian workforce is under the influence of ice every day. That's just ice. What about the alcohol and all the other drugs?
Yeah.
And that's about there's a report 220,000 people at work on ice every day. Imagine driving past them every day.
250,000 people.
220,000 ice users at work, folks.
Oh my
This is a
gosh.
big problem. And after 6 months, are they even employable? And where do they go? They're going to end up on the NDIS scheme, which is already overinflated, but they're unemployable. So, well, they're going to be on the dole. And then the NDS is going to blow out by 220,000 people. It's probably much higher because they're only testing, and the results they've got are only from the top 4 tiers where they do test: rail, air, tier 1 construction, and some transport.
Yeah.
Like, what about every other sector? You're kidding me.
Yeah.
I'm astounded at what's going on, the lack of ability to address the issues, and the fear that is run throughout multiple sectors on what happens if they do. You don't lose your people, you will gain them, you will keep them, you'll help them improve. And what about the 80% of the workforce that's doing the right thing? I can guarantee you the morale and engagement improves in an organization immediately. I have people come up to me and say, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Or I've actually spearheaded certain sectors for drug and alcohol testing, and people have gone about time. So they know it's there. And in fact, I read a report on alcohol use. 1 in 20's on something every day, minimum. They're massive statistics.
Unreal.
Really scary. But without the change, how do we stop it?
So what sort of, I mean, I know you touched on about the policy
Mm,
and, the support and the
yep.
awareness, education and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But if we were to, like just from what you've said there is that, and it seems to be a common theme I'm finding is that companies, they have a very short focus in that they're looking at what's now, in
Yep.
that, well, this is going to cost us money, but not
Mm,
actually looking at the long term, that if
yep.
I invest this money, right, and change how it's phrased, like
Yep.
it's not a cost, it's an investment.
Oh,
If I
100%.
invest this money, but that long-term solution, like your case study has proved, of
Mm.
what they can actually achieve. And how
Yeah, I
can
love
we
it.
flip that for companies instead of look at, what the shift your focus from the short term as an investment to be able to achieve a long-term solution? How could you, what would you like to share in that regards?
Well, the biggest thing there is organizations have to want to invest in their people. And in
Yeah.
fact, I'll put it to this, anyone listening, ask yourself what was spent on professional development within your team, and actually how much of that was, and how engaged, when was the last time you did a productivity engagement survey in your workplace, or productivity audit and a survey for engagement? We organize those things to ensure that we've got a benchmark now.
Mm,
When you have a benchmark, you can see what's going on, and it will just go up. It won't go down. Not
mm.
unless there's major managerial problems destroying things. But, and in saying that, when you provide the support to people, and you can start addressing things that are at home, and this, I'm the only educator that I know of in Australia that has actually looked at psychosocial hazards and gone, there's no drug and alcohol on here. It mentions it twice in the whole code of practice,
Yeah.
and it's about for first responders that work with people that might be under the influence because that's
Yeah.
a risk to their stress. All
Yeah.
right, so there's a psychosocial work cover claim coming for all first responders, guaranteed. And also for if you're serving alcohol, responsible drinking, and the
Mm,
sexual harassment that might come about that. That is all they mention. I
mm.
put it, my argument is if you're not actually addressing the DAGs, drugs, alcohol, gambling, and suicide, the personal issues of people that they bring into work, I guarantee the relationship is at least 50-50 with all psychosocial hazards, if not more, because it's the 20% doing the wrong thing on the drugs, alcohol, and gambling that are the ones most likely to make the claims, the ones most likely to cause the low productivity and engagement levels in your workplace. And it is a ripple effect.
Mm.
The theft starts occurring. They're selling to their work colleagues. They
Mm.
get away with it once, take a risk. Oh, I was lucky. Then it's like becomes familiar, becomes a norm. But then
Yeah.
they start grouping everyone in because if you're doing it with me, well, then safety in numbers, and you're actually justifying me doing it because you're joining me now. So they get everyone involved to take drugs with them in the first place, or the gambling for that money. Gambling in
Mm.
numbers, safety in numbers. They're using psychological safety at such a high level. And that is why we have so much unrest, distress in our communities. The four
Yeah.
Ds, I call it: disengaged, disenfranchised, demoralized, and despondent.
Yeah.
And then it equals displacement,
Yes.
causing massive problems with our youth, with our workforces. The domestic violence is off the Richter scale. And these are all contributing factors. And I don't hear any organization going, let's really take this on. For mental health, we do suicide training, our support over suicide program. It actually covers a lot of the mental health without doing a 2-day program, but actually identifies, defines, and gives systems and protocols on how to deal with these situations. Because you need situational awareness when you're working around these people. They are volatile. They can just go off at the slip of a hat.
Mm.
It's really scary.
It is.
So we address the mental health, the education, but organizations need to start addressing their people. When I wrote a funny article on LinkedIn, if anyone ever wants to read it, and I called it a pound of flesh. Make no bones about it. Because lean management has all been about systems and cut this, cut that. The new CEO comes in and the new broom sweep clean, we'll cut everything. And they're cutting your support, so there's less people to do the one job. There's more pressure on the individual, carrying a bigger load, a bigger burden, and expected to do more
Mm.
and getting less. You can only cut so much meat off the bone. It's not even good for a soup bone anymore, is it? You have got a skeleton. We need to start building people up, training them, putting muscle back on people. And that's mental aptitude and support and engagement in the workplace, and make them feel valued is one of the biggest things. If you want to really support your people, find their values, resonate with them, and have some ethics, values, and moral standing as an organization, the good people will come.
Mm.
And that is, it's not rocket science.
No.
It's really simple. But I see companies go, what, you want me to spend money on them? Well, hang on.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
expect to make any money while our C-suite gets paid phenomenal money, directors and boards and whatnot, but we're trying to keep everyone at minimum wage
Yeah.
while we get more out of them. And here's a funny one. I wrote this down the other day, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, with Australians, they're all about working smarter and not working harder.
Yeah.
They do their best to do as little as possible. Well, sorry, I've grown up where you get paid for a good day's work.
Mm.
I'm that old. I used to go to the bank and pull out the cash to go and pay the wages in cash.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone can remember that. I
Oh,
wonder.
I remember being paid in cash and
I used to love being paid in cash.
a little yellow envelope on a Friday with your cash.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, I used to collect that and do the rounds and so on. Serious stuff back in those days. But
Absolutely.
you put your hand out for a fair day's work,
Mm.
you expected to do a fair day, not actually milk it for all it's worth.
Mm.
If you're not surveying, if you're not checking your productivity, if you're not supporting your people, that's what's happening. They are milking you. Whereas I believe in learning outcomes, and I validate everything. We've got assessment criteria, and assessment validates knowledge retention.
Mm.
That is my, education 101. Guess what that does? It goes in your training matrix. You've been formally trained. You're accountable. Here it says you accept your responsibility.
Mm.
We're changing a dynamic straight away and getting the pendulum to swing back somewhere back to the middle where it should be, whereas support from the workplace, value from an employee, everyone thrives together.
Yeah.
Until we only 48% of companies are looking at this around the globe and doing it, I've heard, and
Only
starting to implement
48%.
48% are implementing productivity and engagement over development with development.
Mm.
These are the two key issues. And you speak to any accountant, they'll go, okay, what are your clients' biggest issues? Productivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're dealing with people and you're treating your people like rubbish. What do you expect?
Yeah.
And this is an interesting aspect. I hear people going, oh, you're punitive, you're drug testing. Sorry. If I believed everyone when I'm out there done, I don't do anything, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
All right. But I can't even show the governance is in place if I don't have the system. So it's a part of a protocol for one. It ticks a box for compliance and it keeps everyone accountable. It's that little reminder that, oh yeah, screening on site's coming out for the drug and alcohol testing sometime soon. No, I'll take it easy tonight. I've had a few drinks, I've enjoyed myself, but I'm going to show some responsibility. Hooray. We're
Mm.
changing behavioral patterns for the better and seeing people do the right thing, which is a beautiful thing. That's the bit I love the most. It's we see people stay employed and we
Yeah.
see organizations grow and their people grow, and that's a great outcome.
So is the end goal to do yourself out of a job?
I'd love to be done out of a job, my God. But unfortunately, I don't think the drug epidemic is slowing down. It's increasing.
Yeah.
$10 billion wasted on drugs. You're kidding, on the top four. And that's heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, and MDMA, ecstasy.
Mm.
That's horrific. Cocaine. Sorry, I missed cocaine on there. And that's out of control. Disposable incomes. And what people don't realize is, have you factored the damage this is doing to your clients? And we go, oh, hang on. Well, remember, you've got internal clients and external clients. So you're destroying the internal relationships. And that's why engagement's low, because it's, the efficacy of an organization actually having some moral compass and holding people account is so low.
Mm.
But what about your actual end user clients and your brand reputation? Because quite frankly, what I see out there is all about the me, the I, and my big wage, whereas we should be looking at us, a collective and a
Mm.
community,
Mm.
and we all thrive when that happens. It's a full paradigm shift,
Yeah.
but people have to start realizing if I invest, and it's not a lot,
No.
you know, if you're losing, let's see, a company with around 1,000 staff, 1,500 staff, I know they're losing $10 million a year on absenteeism, depression. That's just the World Economic Forum. I've got a risk calculator that actually proves it with Australian statistics on the psychosocial hazard work cover claims. It's on depression
10
and
million.
absenteeism alone.
10 million. That's a huge number.
Now, if I said to you, would you invest 20% of that loss now to try and to stop that and then gain 20% profitability, 8% extra sales, and all those bonuses I talked about? 18% sales, sorry. Customer ratings go up 10%. That's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the thing is not only are they preventing the loss of 10 million, but then they're actually earning, what,
100%.
23% profit as well. So,
Well, it's 5 times minimum on
yeah,
ROI. So,
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
turn that 2 million into a $10 million investment,
yeah.
a return on investment. Or they just keep going down the same path, throwing $2 million down the drain every year and having extremely high turnover rates, low productivity, and just everything becomes harder and harder. HR should be about boosting job roles and helping people grow
Mm,
instead of running around putting out he said, she said fires and
mm,
all the HR headaches that undermine every aspect of that business's profitability.
mm,
And I've got a funny little slide with all the files from safety, WHS, environmental, time loss, It's
A
two
whole lot.
stacks up here, and the other one's here. And you can see the head, like they're just snowed
Yeah.
under with the HR headaches. That's what
Yeah.
it's.
Yeah.
But when we address the people, because under every aspect of your business, at the core of everything is our staff, our people.
Mm.
But why aren't we investing in it? Everyone goes, "Oh, what's your most valuable asset?" Our staff. Well, when's the last time you actually spent some money on them?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean a new pair of gloves
No.
or, we painted the lunchroom. It means real investment for their future.
Or
And
provide
you
a
watch
fruit
them.
basket on a Friday or something.
Yeah, oh, look. You see the pizza. There's a pizza video where they gave them pizza and, they were meant to have got a rise, but we'll give you pizza, it was coming. And, you
Yeah.
can't just keep stringing people along. There's only so much that they'll take and they leave. And I think the turnover rate is phenomenal. How many people will leave is at really 6 out of 10 people, what they call quiet quitters.
Yeah.
Well, that's huge turnover for a company. It's almost unsustainable.
Yes.
Whereas I'm passionate about sustainability. In fact, I'm the only drug and alcohol test, and I'm putting my head on the block here, but I'll guarantee it, I reckon. The only one that's actually had postgraduate training for embedding sustainability into adult education.
Yeah. Right.
That was an incredible program I did, and it looked at everything. And that's my
Mm.
whole business is built around it. Our whole ethos and mission is to build people, keep
Mm.
them employed, build businesses. If we don't, I hate to think where we're going to be. And everyone goes, "Oh, it'll all be done by AI." Sure. All right. When that happens, great. But until then, that's how I get put out of a job.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll become a robot calibrator.
Yeah.
Don't have to breath test them or drug
Yeah. Yeah.
test them.
Yeah.
Maybe change their oil.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, sure, there's a future there, but until then, we are not looking after our people. That is the biggest emphasis I can make here to help people is invest, invest, invest.
So, what sort of investments do you think are valuable for the people?
There's Surveys are the best thing to do first. Invest in your management so they're doing a good job because they are
Mm.
the linchpin, really. Ask the team. You need to get on the floor. You need to find out what they're thinking, how they're working, and what's affecting them in their workplace. And this is crazy. Innovation comes from high engaged workplaces.
Yeah, it
So
does.
that's free. They
Yes.
want to help. They want to see the place grow because they're there. They're getting support. I love seeing organizations invest in their people and actually invest profit in their people. That
Yeah.
is that is probably the quintessential organization because they've got ownership.
Mm.
They want to see it succeed. And you will still have people run the gauntlet for all the testing and all the other issues. You need it for a compliance level.
Mm.
So that's massive. And now we've got environment, social governance frameworks coming in, the ESG.
Mm.
Well, what I do is the foundation of ESG because socially, we're solving, excuse me, a massive community issue.
Mm.
The governance, if you don't have it, you don't have any governance. It's
No.
basically undermined and you're waiting to go to court and jail. And environmentally, people, oh, the environment, the clouds, the rain. But, what about the work environment? What about those that are under the influence or low or disengaged in the workplace?
Mm.
Are they affecting the environment and the usage of materials and the wastage and the risk of environmental concerns? And the answer's pretty obvious. It's yes.
Yeah.
So it affects every aspect of that. And more importantly, it's just true corporate social responsibility, CSR.
Mm.
So, you know, when companies that do a lot of green dressing, they used to call it, if they're saying they're doing things, put the rubber on the ground.
Mm.
Invest in mental health and wellbeing programs, musculoskeletal bone issues, a massive
Mm.
issue directly related with psychosocial hazards too. There's
Mm.
actual reports out on it. So invest in their, say physique, but in their physical condition
Mm.
and support them. And that might be getting someone, get them all checked out. that cost, you might find a niggle in someone or something and get that fixed, or they've had a problem for 6 months, 6 years even. But if you can solve that, they are performing at peak performance instead of low performance.
Is that do you mean like a pre-employment medical
Oh, you
or?
have to do that, my word. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
nuts if you don't, because you don't know what you're inheriting.
yeah,
And
well,
then
you're
that's
taking on someone else's problem.
yeah. But there's I've got some fantastic networks here in Adelaide that are really ahead on that level there, with like an app that asks questions, provides workplace routines that help strengthen their
Mm,
musculoskeletal problems and so on. So a really simple little exercises they can be doing
mm,
at their desk or in their workplace, and allow the time to do those little things. That 5, 10 minutes here or there,
yeah,
that turns into hours of bonus time for the company. I don't look at it as a downtime. Oh, you're not performing. Well, you can't keep chopping down trees unless you sharpen the blade.
yeah, yeah.
So it's the same thing.
And I remember being on one of the projects I was on, we did a warm up every morning.
Yes,
The
love a
warm up.
warm up.
And
Love seeing a warm up.
exactly. And we'd all do it and it was mandatory.
Yeah,
Mandatory
good.
pre-start, had to do a warm up from the top of your head to your feet, stretch your neck, stretch your arms, stretch your back, stretch your legs, all of that stuff. And like in an office and corporate environment, there is none of that. But yet
No.
you're in the most sedentary position
Oh,
all day, which leads to issues.
yeah, I'm standing and I'm loving it because I can move a bit while I'm talking to you. I can
Yeah.
stretch my legs and some of that, trying to send everyone mad and look like I'm drunk. Uh,
Not at all.
and I love it. I got really happy to see the Mars bar ad when they were all doing a bit of Tai Chi and feel the energy. I don't know if you can remember if I saw that ad. I thought, oh wow, what a culture change in the workplace. Finally, they're making it cool.
Yeah.
How did you feel of a day after you've done that exercise while you worked at that place? How did your day go?
Well, it was just embedded. And I mean, I actually sort of carry it over now, even though I work for myself. Like I do a morning routine other than going for a walk every morning, but I
Mm,
do a morning routine to stretch my back, stretch my neck,
yeah,
do my arms, all that sort of stuff. And, I can be sitting here for hours doing all sorts of stuff, but and I just find how valuable that is. If I've had like some times where I've been in meetings or I've, had on-site meetings and things like that, and I have not had the time to do my morning regime, I notice it.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
It
I
makes a
notice it.
difference, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I did a Tony Robbins New Year thing last year,
Oh,
and and it was like 3 hours. And
yeah.
you see that. So they had these breaks. They had a guy come in. He's a special guru. He
Yes.
made us stand there and run as
Yes.
fast as we could on the spot just
Yes.
for 15 seconds and jump 4 feet again and do it again. And I tell you what, it was incredible. You felt energized, your posture changed, you sat up, you activated your core.
Correct.
And you were there, you're charged. Let's keep going for another hour and listen to more fantastic stuff. It was good fun.
Well,
But
it's his
so
routine I do every morning, and there's about 6 exercises of his that I do every morning.
they're
Yeah.
great fun. It's
Yeah, yeah.
excellent. Yeah, well done. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh, China, they all do the workouts. They make
Yeah.
them. I mean, they're a little bit more draconian on what they do if you don't do it, but they actually value their people to be able to work continuously.
Mm.
That productivity needs energy. You cannot expect people to keep performing if you do not look after their mental health, their energy levels, and their values. It is impossible to see any change out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you got any sort of closing thoughts of whether that be for an individual, for a company, for the industry, all three, any closing thoughts that you'd like to share about, let's say, an individual? Well, these are some things that you can do. For a company, these are some things you can do. And for the industry, these are some things that you could do.
Individuals need to start thinking about their own responsibility in their health
Mm,
and start working on resilience and empathy.
yeah,
Unfortunately, that's blocked when people are on medication. It's really bad.
yeah,
But that's probably one of our biggest losses in humanity at the moment because everything's too hard, hands in
Mm,
the air. So,
mm,
look after yourselves, be grateful for what we got,
mm.
and stay motivated. Positive mindset's really important. Showing gratitude is an incredible aspect of that,
Yes.
to change that mindset and not be negative, be positive. Change what's going in your life. Any negative thoughts, overlap them with a positive thought. That's how you stop
Mm,
suicide ideation. It's a habit. Break the habit. It's that
mm.
simple.
Well, the other
But it's
thing
that.
is gratitude and any gratitude and fear or anger or hate or any of those sort of low level energies,
Mm,
they can't actually work in parallel.
yeah,
So when you've got gratitude, you actually don't feel angry or fearful or
yeah,
any of
beautiful.
that stuff.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
do an act of kindness is one of the most powerful things
yeah,
in the universe.
yes.
Because that, helps stop the suicide issues. And when I said it's easy to do, I'll retract that. It's not easy. You have to really put some effort in, but write it down or do something or remind yourself and be grateful for 10 things. Brilliant. So the
Mm,
individuals, yeah, work on yourselves. Professional development is one of the best things we can do for us personally and grow. Lifelong
mm,
learning, pillar of sustainability. I'm
mm.
passionate about it. So there's your workers. What was the other one? The employers and the organization, yes?
Yeah, the employers and then like an industry as a whole, for example.
Well, employers start putting 20% of the 10% loss into your people. That simple. All right. Spend the money. All right. Stop looking at, and like, have a look. Oh, we made X amount of profit. Like, come on, use that profit properly and protect your people, or you will not
Mm,
have an organization. And
mm,
put the systems in place and get online with me if you're worried about how it's going to work, because I can guarantee you it's everything that you know is a myth and it actually works beautifully.
mm.
All right. And the people will be happy it's happening. And for the two or three disgruntled employees, well, you'll probably be glad to see the back end of them anyway.
Yeah,
All right. But we'll give them every opportunity we can to comply and
yes.
come on board with the forward journey. And the industry 100% needs to get behind mandatory testing, and it
Mm,
needs to get 100% behind putting people in front of profit. The
yeah,
sooner we do that, the profits will soar.
yeah.
Uh, it's just the statistics, the homework I do, the research, Gallup Institute, where I've been getting the figures from the National Wastewater Drug Monitoring Program, and advocate for government. Like, what about the education? I've devoted my life to writing this stuff. I'll I'll offer a massive discount to anyone that wants to embed my education into their organization. That means everyone. The suicide support over suicide program. For this, or for listeners only, they have to mention this.
Yes.
They have to mention you, Ange, and Epic. I'll do it for 50%. That's how passionate I am, right? That's mad.
Wow.
In fact, no, let's not muck around. I'll give organizations a 70% scholarship to stop suicide and take a proactive change. Because if you're helping your workers with what goes on at home,
Mm,
they're coming to work with less pressures, less psychosocial hazards.
mm,
It's not just the stress at the workplace, it's the external. But if you want to stop it, you better start addressing it. My
mm.
program helps straight away, stopping one of the biggest scourges in our country,
Yeah,
suicide.
yeah.
And we need to talk about it. Get online and check out my Star Education YouTube page. There's free videos there to break the stigma on suicide. My global suicide prevention campaign. We have a global movement. It is a physical movement like that to help people ground and think about it. Because with
Mm,
e-learning, I can't see your face. How
yeah,
do I stop you from being triggered when we say a word or an emotion or a visual? And, I'm not putting scary visuals up, but you can't help someone if you can't control yourself.
yeah,
And when your
yeah.
hands are hit, you're talking from the heart, which is so important. And it gives
Mm,
them a chance to ground themselves and, have a bit of core strength and focus and feel the solidarity and unity of every other support over suicide altruist that's done the program and is out there trying to help stop suicide in our country.
yeah,
Heartbreaking.
it
Uh,
is.
Organizations can get on board for that. The drug and alcohol awareness, I'll offer a 50% discount on all the drug and alcohol training for organizations for a blanket education. Right? Do your workforce. You're educating them and they can educate their youth, their children other family members. If we can spread this,
Mm.
spread the knowledge, knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
And that's how we improve. At the moment, this breaks my heart. Schools are happy spending $5 for a talk, and someone comes in and they go, "Oh, it's great. And they've done this, they've done that. And now we're teaching triage, and that's great." And I said, "Are you serious? Where's the prevention? Where's the actual knowledge to show them the risk assessment involved, which my training does, and takes them through and shares their duty of care obligations, which they walk out with a safe work method statement to say, bang, I
Yeah.
know my rights, roles, responsibilities, and duty of care obligations. Put that in the training matrix. They've all been trained. Implement a robust policy. We do that. It's 12 pages and it meets the Australian standards, which
Mm.
is vital. And just about every single policy I read doesn't. I maybe read 2 in 8 years. Then I go, oh, there's a good one. All
Yeah.
right. That says a lot.
Yes.
That's really scary when industry peak bodies can't get their policy and procedure right. So,
That is concerning. Yeah.
happy to talk to anyone. My line's open. They can
Yeah.
contact me at CPDs at Star Education, CPDS at Star, STAH education.com. There's my risk calculator. Check that out. If you want to know what absenteeism and depression's costing your business, the first two columns will tell you that. What you put in is the amount of staff and your median salary per person, and it will tell you what you're losing from stats, not made up numbers. The
Yeah.
third column is what you can expect to lose on psychosocial hazards and work cover claims. That's indicative because we don't know, but on average, it's going off the statistics. And know this, they're going up 100% year on year on year.
Wow.
Claims for the last 3 years, that's how much they've gone up.
Wow.
I do not see this slowing down, and especially when people are going, "Oh, well, we've done that," and we've got all the education and support you need. All right, you have to do a risk assessment. You need a matrix, top tier management levels. They
Mm.
go out, identify the hazards with your teams,
Mm.
get them working with their teams, and we survey. Now we can have a look, and now we can put in solutions.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. I'm a solution-based business.
Yes.
Sustainable solutions is what Star Education is all about.
And it's building things for the long term, not just the short term. So,
Generational support.
mm.
All right. Sustainability is 7 generations down.
Mm.
I mean, that's real forward thinking. But
Yeah.
really, if we don't start putting in severe systems now that just stop all of the drama that's going on out there, well, we know the figures, we know the jail, we know the costs and the damage, the theft, dereliction works, dilapidation surveys, rework, defective parts, quality control, you name it. It affects every aspect of your business. And it's heartbreaking to watch it continue
Mm.
and no one actually look at the relationship that the DAGs are causing with the workplace and
Yeah.
think, oh, no, it's okay. That's their rights. No, sorry, you're putting your hand out to get paid. You have an obligation to do what's required. And organisations need to take charge of that.
So understand your obligation as an individual,
Yep,
get your personal development happening and,
you're right. And your health.
and your health and well-being as well.
Yeah,
And just, have those moments to sort of just fill yourself with gratitude rather than negative emotions and
way
stuff.
better than anything
Yeah.
else. I've had a
Yeah.
roller coaster of all of it, I can tell you.
Yeah. 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 And what about like, if it was, for industry, like as an industry reform? What would that look like if it was legislation reform? I appreciate we've got the legislation under workplace health and safety, but if there was anything else that could be done as far as reform, whether that's in a legislative manner or,
Yeah.
that it becomes mandatory that, if you're in this industry, let's say drug and alcohol testing. Drug and alcohol testing is mandatory every day on this percent of every workforce all the way through. I mean, is that something that, you think would
Yeah,
be
well, the
as
regime
well?
should be monthly so that you've got a regular presence and I don't know what day of the month. All right, that's what a regular regime is, a testing regime, monthly testing regime.
Yeah.
And it works out the best model, 10% of your workforce a month. By the end of the year, you've tested everyone once.
Mm.
It's not a big obligation. But I tell you what it does, the safety and the productivity goes through the roof immediately. So
Mm.
it pays for itself over and over again.
Yeah.
That's easy. That is low-hanging fruit. Uh, Industry should be mandating a percentage of profit goes back to the people for mental health training and so on. We've got
Mm.
companies making 10, 20 million.
Mm.
We've got everyone on basic wage. You're kidding me.
Yeah.
All right. And shareholders, well, I really don't care about shareholders anymore. I love the investing. I've got a self-managed super fund. I pay attention to my money, and everyone should, because you lose so much. Shareholders should be worried that, well, actually, I don't have, and there's nothing to invest in if there's no people to run the business in the first place. So when they
Yes.
talk about ethical investing, and they go, oh, we got to look after their shareholders. No, you look after your people first. They'll come. They will
Yes.
follow. They will want to invest because you're
Mm.
an employer of choice. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Makes such a difference out there.
So it's that investing in your people is what it
Yeah,
comes back
without it,
to.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see all sectors mandate drug and alcohol testing
Mm.
as a minimum to help stop the ice scourge that's happening to our country.
Mm.
But they have to also supply the support
Yeah.
because there's no, we're not here just to get people fired. Get them the support to keep them engaged. The ice is a hard one. They won't get help until they're rock bottom, and only a percentage will want the help. That
Yes.
is just the nature of that insidious drug. Another word for it. But we still need to have that support systems there for everyone and be uniform in your approach to everything. Very
Mm.
important. The sooner
Awesome.
we start spending money on people, the sooner we'll see an improvement in people. It's a no-brainer. Oh, I've read a beautiful thing. They talk about plants grow better when you talk nicely to them.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, but how about we start talking nicely to our people and
I
actually
know.
invest in their wealth
Yes.
to watch them improve? It's a
Yeah.
no-brainer.
Well, it's helping them to flourish, isn't it? Like a plant.
100%. Don't
Mm.
expect them to flower. Well, you'll get nothing but weeds.
Well, if you're pouring bad stuff on, you're gonna get bad stuff happening. So,
100%.
mm,
100%. Look
yeah,
internally, look within, and the improvements are immense.
yeah,
And the myths out there need to be broken. The stigma. Interesting. And when it comes to stigma, it's ignorance, basically, all right,
mm,
or lack of knowledge.
mm,
My company works on foundational values of knowledge, transparency, compassion, and support. They're our
mm,
core values. And stigma hides in shame, fear, secrecy, and silence,
mm,
and guilt.
mm,
So when we get rid of those issues and address things following the values, the problems aren't as bad as they seem. The support is a lot easier to administer,
yeah.
and it's actually easier for people to address those problems. But until we do that and we keep everything hidden behind closed doors, we will continue to have major problems.
So start just opening up, being aware, have
Oh,
more compassion for others.
it's amazing. Well, and we're very, I'm a trainer. I've been in front of people for decades now. When I'm testing, you have a certain demeanor. We're not walking in as if we're not the police. We don't
No,
report to anyone. It's an
yeah,
internal aspect between the individual and the organization, simple as that.
yes,
But how people open up and share with me what's going on, oh my goodness.
yeah,
So I hear so much and the pain, the anguish, the suffering that's out there in the community.
mm,
We need to take charge, and industry should be leading the charge. That's where the money can come from. It's not going to hurt their bottom line. It will do nothing but improve it. And that's a beautiful thing. So, if you want to be an employer of choice, have profit margins go through the roof, less accident, great feedback from your staff, glowing testimonials from clients. If that doesn't inspire you to want to make change and be a change agent, then you shouldn't be in your role.
yeah, yeah. Love it. Absolutely
I
love
don't know
it.
if that was inspiring or at the same time
Yeah,
degrading. Get involved, people. It's the best thing you can do. And I'll stand by my word too for what I mentioned there.
yeah.
Better write it down so I remember.
That's all right. We've got it recorded,
Got it
so
recorded. Beautiful. All right. So I don't know.
awesome.
We'll put some contact details there for people.
Yeah, I'll be
where they
sharing
can,
all the links and everything that
yeah,
people can
beautiful.
get in touch with you. So any final parting words that you'd like to share, Mario?
Be safe, believe that change is good and embrace it. And together we can all succeed.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here, Ange. You have a fantastic day. Look forward to catching up again and look forward to hearing from you, people. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode today. I hope this conversation gave you something that you can take with you, whether it be a little bit of insight, inspiration, or maybe just a reminder that you're not alone. If it resonated with you, please share because we're better when we help build each other up. And remember that your experience, your story, and your journey, it all matters more than you know. Until next time, stay kind, stay connected, and never forget you are epic.